Artist Production.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? This is your boy Derrick Huggins, the Mega Mogul, again for another edition of All Access Gospel Indie Artist Corner. And today, y'all, we got my boy, Mr. Mark Ayers.
What's going on?
Junior.
What's going on?
What's up, Mark? How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. So before we get started in this interview, I got to remind all of our viewers, hey, if you're our viewer, I need you to go right now, not right now, but right now. That's a little bit more urgent than right now. I need you to go to our social media pages, go to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow us on @AA_Gospel. I need you to do that right now. Again, that is @AA_Gospel. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. And, of course, check us out on our website, www.allaccessgospel.com, for the latest in interviews, event coverages, premieres, and everything in between. This is your all-access pass to the gospel music industry. All right, so we are here, ladies and gentlemen, with the aforementioned Mr. Mark Ayers. Mark, let's tell, man, what's going on with you today? You staying safe out here in this quarantine? What's going on?
Man, we trying to, man. You know, try to stay safe and sane. So,
yes, sir, man.
Yeah.
Man, look, I tell you, Rona, it's done sidelined so many of us.
Yeah.
I was telling someone yesterday, I said, look, even all the main artists we all on the same boat today. Gigs are canceled, assignments are canceled, nobody getting honorariums.
Yeah, real talk.
This the one day we all unified in the same position.
Yeah, real talk. We all at the same level.
Yes, sir. So listen, man, so glad to have you on. Before we get started into the meat of the interview, I just want you to go ahead and let our viewers know who is Mark Ayers.
Well, you know, I'm a servant of the Heavenly Most High.
Yes.
Father, husband, man, producer, writer, arranger, worship leader, all those, man. Just kind of, you know. I coach Little League football. I love that, man. That's one. I love it, man. So,
yes,
man, that's all of me rolled up into one. So, yeah.
Man, I love it. You said husband, father, worship leader, writer, producer, arranger, government official, dog catcher,
hey.
roof shingler.
Hey. All of that.
Hey, you all things to all men, right?
Yeah, everything.
That's what's up, man. So glad to have you on again with us, and wanted to go ahead and let everybody know really quickly how they can follow you on social media. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at _Mark Ayers Music. That's _Mark Ayers Music. Everything else is just Mark Ayers Music, MarkAyers Music, spelled regular. So, man, I'm there. Try to be as visible as possible, and yeah, man. Have my content on there and all that. So,
well, listen, y'all need to go follow my boy Mark Ayers. I've been following Mark a long time, especially in the DFW community. It's been a staple and doing great things and big things. And speaking of great and big things, man, you got that single out called "Making a Way."
Yes, sir, man. It's out, man, and it's making a way so right now. Thank God.
Yes, sir. So tell the people where they can go get "Making a Way" right now.
It's on all digital outlets, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, anywhere that you can get music. I think it's on everything except Tidal, but man, yeah, we're everywhere. So if you can, stream it for us.
You heard him here, folks. He's on Spotify, Unified, iFi, MyFi, WeFi,
everything,
Wi-Fi, every other fi. He's on there. Go cop the music, man. Making the Way, Mark Ayers. You would not be disappointed. One of my songs, and one of the things I really like about your song, Mark, and your music just in general, sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
And I think that's your approach, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really appreciate that about your craft and your gift. So tell us a little bit about your musical style and what drives you when you write and things like that.
When I first start, and this is a short version of it, when I first start doing this artist thing, everybody expected, since I'm a musician, that my music would be like all the bump, stunt, all the hits and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things when I first started coming out with my music was, one of my visions was I wanted to be able to have it where churches could sing it, because if your music can't get sung in church, then you're losing. I mean, it's just you have to be able to have your music sung in church. The second thing, wanted being able to be sung in any type of church, is I wanted the church that didn't have the full band or the best musicians to be able to play my stuff, even if it's like the simple chords or whatever. You know, so I never want to get just super technical, even with the vocal arranging and everything. Now, when I work on other people's music, then I put everything in they want me to do.
Right.
Some of my music, the newer music that I have coming out, will have some more stuff on it, but you know, I want teams, worship teams, choirs, whoever, even children choirs, to be able to sing it and follow it and get the message. You know what I'm saying? And I not have the message clouded by the music and the extra, you know, and nothing wrong with none of that stuff, but they're just, for me, that's
absolutely, man. You said some really key things, and as someone who, you know, prides himself, you know, I've been an artist manager for over 20 years. I've been an event promoter. I've worked in pretty much all different aspects of the industry. I can tell you that you said some really powerful things in that. I'll never forget, I was able to sit down with the late, great Reverend Timothy Wright during an AIM convention in the Church of God in Christ. It was after the services, and it was really late. I think we was at a Waffle House or something, or Denny's or somewhere. And he said, one of the keys, I asked him, I said, what is the key for your longevity? And he said, man, I tell these artists and writers all the time, keep your songs simple so that they can be sung in churches. So you really kind of hit on what one of the pieces of advice that he had given. And then also the fact that you said that if people can, if these musicians that are less musically inclined or less vocally inclined can do the music, then it's going to give your music a better chance of exposure and success. So I thought that was a really good thing that you said there. And speaking of which, talk to some of the upcoming artists or aspiring artists. Maybe they haven't even stepped out there yet, but they're thinking about it. Give them some pointers on what you think they should think about and deliberate on before they do that.
What I would say is, outside of financial, because that's a really, well, we can talk about that, but you really got to see what you're trying to do first off. Right. If you're trying to market your product, or if you're trying to push it that type of way, you have to have a budget set aside for that. Now, some people just release music just because they want to release music. Sometimes I talk to people that say, hey, I just want to do this song. Can you help me get this song out? It doesn't have to do anything. I just want to put it out to say I put it out. You have to first get that together. But even before that, you have to have your vision together. Like, if you got to have your vision, what I like to do is have a checklist to say, okay, this is what I want to do, then this, and I check them off. Because when you see your vision on the board and you check off your short-term goals and your long-term goals, it does something for you. You know, even it's biblical, you know, write the vision, make it plain. I'm really a believer in that, because when you see your stuff coming into fruition, you know what I'm saying, your vision coming to pass, you know, it really just, you know, I don't know, it motivates me to even keep doing more. So that's kind of like a couple of things that I have.
Yes, sir.
Forward, you know, so.
Well, again, man, very solid advice. And, you know, one of the things that you talked about in terms of having a checklist, I think that's important. And I also think it's important that, you know, the Bible says it like this, that except the Lord builds a house, that he that labors in vain, and no man builds a house except he counts up the cost. And those costs, man, it costs money to put this music out. And then I always say this a lot, Mark, too. Like, a lot of people talk about, oh, I'm in the studio. And I always say, that's great. That's the easiest part.
Yeah.
But the question is, what do you do after the project is finished? Then what? You know, have you thought about marketing? Have you thought about radio promotion? Have you thought about retailing? Have you thought about doing promotional gigs where you don't really get paid an honorarium, but maybe you just reach out and say, hey, can I be on this? You don't have to pay me nothing. I'll pay my own way. And that's the part I'm finding as, again, being an artist manager for 20 years, these artists don't want it. They're not ready for that kind of life. They're not about that like that. You know what I'm saying? Talk about that and the importance of that.
Yeah, you said a mouthful, and we can go home off of that, because like that's simple. But first off, it's about relationships. I'm just really, I'm really just driven on relationships because I'm blessed enough after I release music, I have outlets that I could just send them to and shoot them straight to because of the relationships. Not of like, it's not so much of a you scratch my back, I scratch yours, but it's just me showing that I'm genuinely, you know, you got to show people that you're genuinely interested in their craft as well, and support, and even a share goes a long way. When people say, hey, can you share this, or can you follow the page?
Absolutely.
And what happens, and a lot of this stuff turns to small, it comes from small seeds like that into big, you know, relationships. One of the great people that I always look forward to talking to is Carmina Barnett. She's just like one of the dopest. She's the top radio announcer in the nation, you know. So, but you'll never could tell like, oh, she's at this level. You know what I'm saying? Because she's always humble and she gives you advice. I've had plenty of conversations just off the advice, not off of, can you play my music? Can you do this? And just being steered in the right direction and taking in what people say. Like you said, you sat down with the late great, you know, it's a lot of those conversations are being had. I'm in a lot of people's inboxes asking for advice. What do I do about this? I go to conferences. I do sing a lot of places where they say, oh, I can't afford you. I've had to pay for flights. I've had to pay for whatever. And people just pay for my hotel, you know, and it came from something. I got there and then people say, hey, can you come here? Can you come to San Diego and sing? Or can you come here? You know, that kind of stuff. But you have to be prepared for that, you know. If you can't be faithful over the small things, you know, God can't trust you with the major stuff that He's, you know.
Absolutely, man. And to that point, when you talked about the whole aspect of paying your own way, one of the first things when I'm asked frequently about managing people, they'll hit me up and inquire about me managing them. And one of the first things I ask, I have like a literal checklist of questions I ask them, because their answers to those questions are going to tell me whether or not we're going to work well together. Because I'm pretty hands-on, and I can be tough when it comes to my artists, but it's because I understand what is necessary to get you where you need to go. And I can tell a lot about the person's responses to the question, whether or not they're ready to do this from my perspective. Right. And you also mentioned, I got to give a shout out too, because you mentioned Carmina. So I'm going to go on and break this news right here on this interview, that Carmina Barnett has joined our All Access Gospel team as our editor at large. And so I'm really excited. She and I had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we are developing some content ideas and some other things to really drive this platform forward. I'm so excited to have someone of her stature on our team, because we are in the business of, as you said, she's a legend. Certainly here in the Dallas-Fort Worth community and even around the nation in gospel music radio announcers. I mean, you're hard-pressed to talk to an announcer in this industry, and they don't know who Carmina Barnett is. And besides the fact that, you know, when she was at the helm of KHVN, Heaven 97, they won multiple Stellar Awards for Radio Announcer of the Year, which included her, and Station of the Year, among other awards as well. And so just glad to have her, and shout out to her as well.
Shout out.
Carmina Barnett. I could say our own. Carmina Barnett. Well, man, that's good stuff. Listen, so you were working on some new music, I think I heard you say. So what you got coming up? What we working on now?
You know what? I am working on some new music. The whole album is actually almost complete. So of course this whole pandemic has kind of made us halt and kind of be strategic and see how we're going to do things. We're thinking about what we're going to do, release another single, or if we're going to release the album. You know, all that goes into it, because you said something earlier. When you release content, you have to be able to push it after that. So, you know, you have to have legs. Even though we're a digital era, you still have to get and hit your feet and push your content after that. So we're just trying to be strategic and everything. But we do have some music ready to go right now. So we're just kind of praying for direction. And that's where we're at right now.
Well, man, definitely keep us posted here at All Access Gospel. We'd love to showcase that new music as it comes out. We're definitely all about advancing the cause of indie artists. That's where my heart is. Although we feature all kind of content on our platform, from the major artists, as well as just news and industry related items. But my heart is with indies, man, with you guys, because I've been an indie artist. I've managed indie artists. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've been all around. I understand the challenges, some cases the struggles. You know, just to get your music out, you don't know which way to turn, where to go. And one of the things I would say to any indie artist out there, especially if you don't know much about the industry, you definitely want to get with a good artist manager that can help you, that has, you know, some kind of breadth of knowledge on the industry, and that's going to help you avoid a lot of mistakes early on, right? And then also help you make the best of your limited resources, especially if they're financially limited. Yeah. And so you talked about this coronavirus. So I want to ask you really quickly, because, you know, you bringing this up actually has inspired me to do a live after we're done with this interview. And I hope you can jump back on that live to help us talk about this. But talk to people who are creatives in the industry who are having a hard time. Obviously, not really people are being booked right now because of the coronavirus. Are there ways and things you can do to try to help yourself financially do well? What advice would you have for those individuals?
You know what? I'll speak on my behalf, because obviously a lot of us have never been through type of ordeal. I've been trying to find a way to be proactive and still create. Just still trying to connect with people, because a lot of people are, us as creatives, this is kind of, it hurts a little. It hurts a lot of people, but at the same time, this is our lane, because we can create wherever, because we're creative. A lot of people right now are trying to record music like crazy, and I'm very blessed, because I did have a lot of stuff postponed, that, you know, dates and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, like I said, people are trying to get music done. You know, hey, can you write this? Or like I've been about 3 or 4 days out the week, I've been in a session or at a studio or this and that, or, you know, and because and I don't want to be super deep, but, you know, when you pay your tithes and you sow to people, man, God will he'll always take care of you, man. He'll create provision for you. So a lot of us are, you know, if people freaking out, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's the human side of you. I'm not gonna be extra deep and say, you got Jesus, you know, you shouldn't be scared. You know, we're human, but I can rest in knowing that, he's got us. You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna create. I'm still get prepared, because, you know, you just never know. You never know what a phone call is gonna come. Post the stuff that you're working on. Sometimes I've been going live and working on the music that you know, or editing some stuff for some people, and then people come on and say, or inbox me and say, hey, can you help me with this? You know, you just never know. And don't let people don't let people steer you away from what you do. You know what I'm saying? People are saying, oh yeah, it's being on live is saturated right now, this and that. That's really the only thing that us creators have right now. So do it. You know, go live doing what you do, singing, playing, whatever, because you never know what they can come from. So that would be my advice.
That's some great advice, man. And let me tell you this, why I think it's so great, because one of the things, you know, and I'm a minister. Actually, I'm a assistant pastor at my dad's church. And one of the things that my dad and I consistently discuss is in this environment, most people are looking at this from a negative. But I believe personally that God is using this pandemic as a means to reset the world across the board, right? Environmentally. I was reading something last night. It said that, you know, environmental emissions have gone down over 25% around the world. So the earth is cleaner, right? People are reconnecting. Families are coming back together and communicating again. And I think that we should use this time as creatives in particular, like you said, to prepare. That's the key thing that God told me. Use this downtime as a prep time. And so it's all about your mindset, how you see what you're dealing with. I don't see this pandemic as a scary thing. Don't get me wrong. There are some disturbing things about it. But for me, I'm preparing, man. I'm writing stuff down, mapping it out. Because as soon as this thing dries up, guess what? I'm off to the races. You know what I'm saying? So that's great advice, man. And I appreciate you sharing that with them. And do you have any other closing thoughts as we wrap the interview up that you would like to share with anything you want to just share?
I just kind of want to touch on one thing you said. You said about
Sure.
having an artist manager for certain stuff in business and everything like that. And I second that. I also we've been reading a lot about contracts, and people have really been taken advantage of. I advise you. And I've been burnt before, and that's a whole other conversation with some major people, I've been burnt before because I was so anxious to do something and it was straight burnt. So the thing that I would say is get somebody, I would say get an entertainment lawyer.
Absolutely.
If once you get to that level, some people are still building to that level, but once you get to that level, I would have to say let an entertainment lawyer read over that stuff, or get somebody that knows what knows the lingo. Because if you don't know it, it could definitely get you, because we don't know some of these words. It's just like when you go to the courthouse,
right?
Whatever, you know what I'm saying? When they say, you're represented by yourself or this and that, the lingo is way different. We didn't go to school. A lot of us didn't go to school for that stuff. So go to somebody that knows how to read contracts, because, like you said, we got to prepare, so we got to get ready for this type of stuff, man. And I'm just one of those people that just read. I'm a geek on this music industry stuff. I try to be as well versed as possible,
Right.
And so that's what I would really tell everybody. I would encourage that. Like, if you can go to conferences, like, I know people going on vacations and all that kind of stuff, but like sometimes go to these conferences that people have, just everything. That's because that's what I do. I try to just really make sure my mind is, because this stuff can really get crazy if you don't know what you're looking at or what you're reading. So that would be some extra advice I would tell you.
Yeah, that's again just perfect advice. And I'm gonna even go a little further and say this. I think it's so important as independent artists that we prioritize what's important when building the career. So a lot of people talk about the entertainment attorney down the line. No.
Yeah.
Start off with the entertainment attorney, because it's going to help you make right decisions from the very get-go. And so you talked about a budget. If in your budget, start planning in your budget what it would take for an entertainment attorney to counsel and advise you off the top. Mm-hmm. That way, you'll avoid making some costs. You'll avoid spending money on things, right, that you didn't need, or you can avoid certain traps. So I just want to put that in there too. But I think all of it's great advice, man. And I just appreciate, again, your input. I appreciate you doing the interview, man.
Yes,
a lot of this, I feel smarter. Praise God.
Man, thank you for having me on.
After talking to Mark Ayers. Yeah, man. So listen, everybody out there in Indie Artist Corner land, listen, this is your boy Derrick Huggins. This is Indie Artist Corner here at All Access Gospel. I want to remind you guys to go to our website, www.allaccessgospel.com, for the latest in music premieres, reviews, and great interviews. And then also follow us on our social media pages. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on IG, Instagram, at AA Gospel. Once again, that is at AA Gospel. Go follow us right now, not right now, but right now. And then don't forget also to go to our YouTube channel, All Access Gospel. Our YouTube channel, you'll find this interview and tons of other great interviews from all of these independent artists. You can find those on our YouTube channel as well at All Access Gospel. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Give it up one more time for the Mark Ayers, ladies and gentlemen. Mark, tell them one more time how they can follow you.
You can follow me on Instagram, _Mark Ayers Music, _Mark Ayers Music, and on everything else, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff, Mark Ayers Music. And you'll be able to keep up with what I got going on. So thank you guys.
Yes, indeed. And don't forget to go to every digital outlet you can think of and go download Making a Way, the hot new single by Mr. Mark Ayers himself. Mark, thanks again, brother. Appreciate you for coming on and giving us your time and wisdom and insights. I just feel smart. You don't always feel this smart, but I feel smart after talking about Ayers. Praise God. All right, Mark. All right, y'all. We out of here. That's your boy Derrick Huggins here for Indie Artist Corner, All Access Gospel. Be there. Check it out. See ya.